Yeah, I mean, like, I love happy endings too, don't get me wrong. Let's get started and see what your 3 pick a card will be like. These are a little bit of a darker deck. I guess I would say sinister or darker, but here we go. We've got the Chariot. We've got the Lovers. And let's do one more. And we've got the Knight of Cups. I'll leave them up here for you for a quick second and we'll get started shortly. 1, 2, 3. Welcome, pile number 1. Here are your cards for today's reading. So we've got the King of Wands, the Magician, the Five of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Empress, the Chariot. We're going to put it underneath the same Chariot. Well, it's not the same, but I mean, similar. And let's move things around a little bit here. The High Priestess. And we've got Awakening. So actually, we're going to add her over here. Okay. So, feel like we're almost missing a card here, but we'll get this spot going on here fairly quickly. All right. So what are we looking at? What is your fear? Are you overcoming them? What's going on? So let's take a look at it and see where we go from here. So we've got the Chariot, and then we've got the Chariot. Okay. So I can honestly say, the way I see this is perhaps an overcoming of fear of yours would be moving on too fast, moving in a direction too fast, or moving in a direction, period. You have a lot of potential, but you're, how's that term, crying over sour milk? Is that what it is? Anyways, but I feel with the Five of Cups that you're on something that had happened and you're afraid of moving on. We've got high hopes here. The King of Wands was either somebody that was very strong, could be possessive, could be somebody that was either putting you down, did not see the potential, that may have been in an earlier stage of your life, could be childhood, could be some emotions that have been bottling up for quite some time here. Releasing this would impact you moving forward. But I see that there is a lot of great potential for you, especially with the Magician card, that you can do anything you want. The whole matter of the fact is that if you're looking at the actual fear itself, is leaving something that you know and starting something new, right? So with the Page of Swords, it's almost like you would have to start all over again in a sense, or you would have to start by either being an apprentice, by being somebody that is not something that would be so new that you would feel like you were starting swifting through it. Which it scares you, right? It scares that change sometimes can be scary. Sometimes that new job can be scary. Sometimes, releasing people that don't serve anymore is scary because you don't know what else you're going to get. I do have the Empress and the High Priestess. So in conjunction, this is a very strong center of being, somebody that would be connected not just to earth, but would be connected to spirituality, emotions. I do feel like the connection with the Empress and the High Priestess would actually, it's almost like a courage. that you're going to be moving in from your fears into courage. In a sense, we've got the moon on both of these. Actually, we've got the moon here, moon here, moon here. It's that uncertainty that is kind of fearful, but in a way you're going to try to move on, because the moon gives you opportunities, right? So it's kind of like, oh, where do we go if we need guidance? We always kind of look up to the moon and ask for guidance. And the reason for that is also the illumination. It's illuminating back at us, like protecting us, making us feel safe, and also powerful in a sense, right? We're giving that power. I don't know if you've ever done moon rituals. Sometimes it's also good to write what your fear is, or somebody that you're upset about, someone else, on a piece of paper, and then burning it and releasing it. I do feel like this is something that would serve you in a sense of release, because like we're seeing what the fear will be or is, then we can also see how we're actually trying to awaken. And again, with the High Priestess and the Empress, we're awakening. So to a new potential. You're awakening to the fact that you don't have to be stuck in the past. You don't have to be stuck with whoever did you wrong, or how emotionally you're feeling depressed. You can move on by experiencing a new direction, even if it's something completely new, or something that you're just starting off. It could mean your own being an entrepreneur. It could mean a new relationship. It could mean a lot of things. It could, a new job, something that will make you feel like yourself again. And instead of the whole thing about being fearful of moving on and moving forward is the unexpected. I guess with this reading, not only are we looking at what are your fears of overcoming, but we also need to find out how will you overcome them, and how you can move forward and reconnect with that, not just the fear, but reconnect with where you need to go. So let's draw a couple more cards here. All right. What are we going to do with this fear? What are we overcoming? How can we overcome it? How can we overcome it and have our awakening? I always say our. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm part of your reading as well. So I'm going to keep on going with the R sometimes. Our. All right. Whew. Oh, I feel this one is going to be jumping out at me. The Queen of Swords. The Fool. Jeez. All right. I'm going to actually take this one. The King of Swords. Okay. And the Six of Swords. Okay. Let's, hopefully you can see these. Actually, I'm going to put this one over here. I'm just moving the camera around and everything. Jeez. I'm just fantastic today. All right. So, what do we have? Okay, we've got the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, okay? Let's put them together, because I do feel like this is something else. So, confidence, we're looking at not just, like, you see how he's pointing it down and she's pointing it up? It's kind of like he's very secure on what he's doing. He's moving those chess pieces like he knows exactly what he's doing. And she is finding out and seeking new opportunities by holding it close to her, like to her heart, okay? And saying, I've got this. I'm kind of a little bit on the apprehensive side, but I've got this. I'm holding on to it and I'm not letting it go. So this means that not only are we going to be moving forward, but we're also going to take that step in the leap of faith into a new with the Page of Swords and the Fool would be the representation of something that is going to be new, innovative, that is very childish, in a sense that you're going to be having to learn it from scratch. Could be like I said, a new beginning in anything, work, or I don't know, maybe you'll become a YouTuber for all I know. But things that you might not know of that you're going to be learning, and you're going to master it. You're going to take reins. You're going to hold on to that. And that's where your awakening will be, because you're going to be saying goodbye to this era of your life, that era of fear. You're going to be saying goodbye to that, and you're going to be traveling into that, like it looks almost like a foggy, but nature in the back. And you're going to be taking your kind of like your equipment, your life with you, in a sense, and you're going to be going in that direction. It could also be a new adventure. It could be a traveling situation too, that you're afraid of taking a new position, or you're afraid of taking that challenge of moving on to a different state, province, whatever, or including new country, because that you don't know what you're going to be expecting, and it will be all so new to you that you might, with the Fool, you have to take that venture, and you're kind of almost carrying just what you've got, pretty much, and kind of looking at the back of their representation of somewhere new, somewhere that is a little bit foggy, in a sense, but you're moving towards it. So I do feel very confident that, being that it's going to bring more to the table, you're going to feel much happier. It's almost like a new beginning, in a sense, a new awakening. Wherever you are, you'll start enjoying your life. The whole presence with nature and the blues, it's just such that inner peace within yourself. Like also, you'll be blue is recognizable as, I would say, your throat chakra, and purple is more of the mind. So also tells me communicating better. You're going to have a better connection with the world. You're going to be introducing your new self out there. And one more card that I want to throw out there, because I do feel like I'm still missing one more thing here. And I want to know, now that we have all this new connections to the outer world and seeing where you go with your fear, what is the end result? You know what? This one was wanting to pop up. The Six of Swords. You know what? I can't have it any other way. The Moon, the Six of Swords is like, let's go. Let's go and into an adventure. Let's keep her going. You're still going to look back, but I think when you're looking back at it, you're going to be seeing, okay, you know what? This is the right move for me. This is what I needed to do from the beginning. So, recap quickly here. The Chariot reminds you of that fear of moving on or moving forward due to a lack perhaps of confidence, or somebody that's been holding you back. Moving into a much more spiritual path with new ideas, new motivation of moving forward, either to a different location, or also love or work related, that will strive to move on to something bigger and better with confidence and self-respect. So hopefully this made sense to you. Hopefully you liked it. And if you like to check the description box below, would really appreciate it. If you like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. It does help quite a bit. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Hasta luego. Welcome, pile number 2, to your reading today. We are looking at, what fears are you overcoming? And we're going to take a look at this one quickly. It's the Lover's card. Well, I guess hopefully you can see it better. But what I wanted to show is that this here is an actual tree. I know it's really hard to see. And they're actually both looking at the tree with the crow in the back. So I know it's a little bit darker and the image might not come up very well, but I can guarantee you that's the Lovers card. Anyways, let's move on. We've got the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Hangman, the Devil. I'm going to move my cup over here. Always have to have coffee. We've got the Eight of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, and we've got the Oracle of Pleasure. We're going to put this one here along the side and see what we've got going on. Okay, so it could potentially be that you are starting off that relationship with somebody and you are having a hard time committing to that person. So there's a few factors in here that I see that not only pertain to the fear itself, but it could potentially be some issues that are suggestive that that fear might be true to it, right? We've got that fear, and when you see it here with the Nine of Swords, okay, you've been hurt before. Somebody's hurt you pretty bad. You might have had a really awful relationship with somebody that was, you know, very overbearing, that couldn't change their ways, perhaps even had an addiction of some sort, maybe you know, could be gambling, could be drinking, it could be drugs, whatever the case would be. There's some kind of addiction. It could even be addiction to you, not just overpowering, but holding on to you in a sense, not letting you go, do things, maybe feeling trapped. But for whatever reason, this person has put you into that position that you felt like you had no other choice, that you were stuck for quite some time. That fear now of commitment to another person, that is lingering to that point that even if you do find happiness, you feel like you're still trapped in that spider web, that you're still moving extremely slow towards finding that resolution and moving on from this particular person. So either you're stuck with them still, or you feel like you are going back to them because maybe you think that they're maybe that commitment issues, because you might think, yeah, they've changed, or maybe they have changed. Maybe the addiction process, maybe all of that has completed, and now you're like, ooh, do I really want to? Do I really not? Is this person really going to change? Is that really how it's going to be? Or are they still stuck in who they were? Or maybe perhaps you're the one that's stuck in who you were, and they're actually trying to make that change, and you're stuck. Perhaps you're the one with the addiction problem, and that's the reason why you have commitment issues, is because you don't want to let go of that addiction in order to have a good relationship. Or perhaps you think that that is a good relationship, but you don't want to commit to it because of the fact that you're not changing your ways. There's a few different ways to look at this, because it's not always the other person to blame. Sometimes we have to blame ourselves, moving on or committing or changing our own habits. So with that being said, I do have the Pleasure card here. Okay. The Pleasure card could also mean a habit of pleasure. So it could be a habit of wanting to be loved, but not committing to that relationship because you don't want either others to hurt you, or you find the pleasure in having that first connection linked to one particular person, and you find the pleasure of just having them as a part-time love, part-time a person, a boyfriend, girlfriend that never materializes to anything more than that. Now, because we already know what the fear is, now we have to figure out, how do we overcome this? What kind of pleasure are you holding that is keeping you from overcoming all of this? And let's just move on. Let's look at the cards and see what we've got going on. I'm going to pull some of these out and see. So how are we going to overcome this issue, this connection issue? The fear of commitment. Wow. Okay, so we've got the Lovers, the Seven of Cups, and the Three of Wands. Sorry, I was dazed and confused there. Should have told you about this sooner. Okay, so I see with the Lovers, and the reason why I was disconnected here for a minute is because it was kind of like almost like a flash that I got while I was while the cards were coming out. I'm gonna do this here because I almost feel like at one point or another you just had too many options, and that's the reason why this fear of commitment continued on to overpower you, is because there was too many options available. There was too much pleasure, too many people that to choose from. So kudos to you. That is fantastic. But also you felt kind of trapped in it because there was just too many options for you to deal with. Okay? So we're looking at the Three of Wands as saying, you know what? Enough's enough. So at one point or another, you're going to be overcoming your fears by saying enough is enough. You're going to be moving on. You're taking that step. Okay. And then seeing from all those options that you have a potential person in your life, again, with the Lovers. Okay. So we see the difference here. You know, the one is kind of a little bit on the separate, looking at the tree, seeing what are we going to overcome. And here we're saying, okay, you know what? Now that we have all this taken care of and found out what our fears are and now is the time to overcome them. So let's take a step back and say, okay, so now we have the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands here, okay? Carrying too much baggage, right? So we're carrying too much baggage here. We're carrying baggage from previous relationships, somebody that was with habits, perhaps is that you were carrying the baggage with habits and you were dealing with a lot of like relationship options and not seeing it very clearly and couldn't figure out how to move on from it. And then we come into, once we figured out the issue, now we're coming into the realization that not only did we have a lot of options, but now we got to take a stand by releasing all of that and looking at what is in the horizon and what kind of option are you actually comfortable taking. And that's when you're going to find the true love that you're looking for. And that true commitment that is going to be coming from all of this. And it's going to be, in a sense, magical. I want to see one more because, you know, the Lovers is great and everything. It's like one of those the romance movies where you get to the romance part at the end. Everybody's happy. Like, you know, this kind of feels like that. Like, oh, we got too many options. You figure it out. And then at the end, you've got, you know, the romance and then it ends. But do we really end it there? If we stop it here and we've got love and yada, 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 and then what? So it's kind of like one of those movies that ends and you're like, really? Are they really happily ever after? Or is this just going to be one of those? But let's look at what we have after the Lovers card. And we've got the Justice and the King of Cups. Okay, so once this whole love and everything else manifests for you, I'm going to say that you're going to be pretty much in a balance. I don't know if you can see how she's got the folding of one eye and the other one is open to make sure that it's all going to plan. So I feel like once you get this person in your life, you're going to keep an eye on this person to make sure that it's consistently balanced and that this person is going to make you feel like the queen that you deserve to be. Okay, so even though he's sitting in his throne here, you can see that he's shoveling all this stuff like the cup, and then checking up on there's a mermaid in the back, and he's got the cow on the other side, and everybody is like around him. So that tells me that this guy is going to be emotionally ready to take that next commitment. And although you're keeping an eye on the situation and seeing where it goes from here, I do believe that this would be a good person for you to keep around, at least for now. I feel like he will be ready for committing a commitment with you. So you will be able to take that next step as long as you overcome the fear of your own commitment from the previous relationship. Hopefully this made sense to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you don't mind checking out the description box below for additional information. You also, if you do like this and would like to support me in a way, you can click the subscribe button, do whatever you got to do. And we will see you next time. Hasta luego. Welcome, pile number 3. Here is your reading for today. We're looking at what fears are you overcoming, okay? We're going to take a look at quickly the Knight of Cups, okay? It looks like he is surrounded here by some crows, and it's really hard to tell. That's the reason why I'm giving you a quick description with the horse and holding a cup upwards as a celebratory cup. So let's see what else we've got going on here. So we've got the Queen of Swords, the World, the Empress, the Chariot, the Six of Coins. Look at those beautiful flowers. And we've got the Tower. We've got the Eight of Cups. And the Father of Swords, which is the King of Swords. Okay, and then finally, we've got Alchemy, the Queen Nefertiti. So we're going to put her over here for now. The Knight of Cups would represent your fear. Okay, so we're looking at somebody or you that potentially is stuck in your own ways of doing things, stuck in your own emotions, stuck in you have to have things in a certain way, and you can't seem to move past that. Okay, and the reason why this would be a fear is because while you're stuck in the way you see things, you're also not moving forward into your current life. It can portray that there's strong people beside you, such as the Queen and the King of Swords, that are trying to guide you into a new direction, but you're so concentrated on what you know and how you do things that you're not seeing past that. You're telling them to kind of, in a way, saying, piss off, I've got this, having a hard time moving forward. You're like, hey, like I'm doing things right and nobody can tell me what to do. So we're seeing like the road ahead does have a little bit of let me see if I can grab this. Of course, my nails are always in the way. So we can see here that there is another direction that you can take instead of that road ahead. But now the world is kind of like, you know what? This is the bigger road, but perhaps this direction is the one that you should take. And I do feel like with these powerhouse of people, could be parents, could be like it could be friends, it could be even the Queen of Swords could be somebody that is very close to you, that is in your ear, and you're like, nah, I've got this. We also see the humanitarian empress coming through here. Like, I feel like there's people left and right telling you like, hey, take a different road. No, you know, you've got options. You don't have to be this. You don't have to stay where you're at. You don't have to endure all of this milestone, because things are going to crumble, right? Like, we're looking at this milestone that you're trying to achieve here that will crumble because of that insecurity and fear that you have of overcoming, or the fear that you have of moving forward without changing who you are, or without changing the path. Let's just say that is not changing who you are in as a person, is changing that path that you think you're like very, like, even the horse is telling you like, hey, look over there. The crows are like, you know what, we see you, but we're kind of hovering over you too, right? Like, this could be like the queen, the king, and the empress hovering over, saying there's other points there, the chariot saying, you know what, you should be moving in that direction, but still you're still holding that cup and still saying, you know what, I got this the way I wanted to do it. Then versus seeing what your horse is looking at. Perhaps the horse is looking at the world and looking at that different option of a road to take. Like, you're not seeing the fruit at the end of it with the roses. You're not looking at the overall celebration, in a sense, the overall, these coins are pouring out. Could be also that you're, you know, financially stressed out because of the way you see things, and you have like a blindfold on. You don't want to change your ways. And this is that fear that you have of not changing your ways. Where do we go from here? Okay. I mean, we see somebody powerful as the queen here. Again, queen and queen represents that strength. So you've got somebody close to you that is representing a lot of good qualities that you're not listening to. And this queen over here, and this queen, I feel like it's almost the same person. That's could be, even if you're looking at it in that perspective, it could be also your spiritual guidance. You know, somebody that you're supposed to be connecting as a spirit guide that you're actually not listening to. And this is where all this problem occurs. So how are we going to overcome this? Where are you at? And this fear that you have of listening to others and moving forward with new direction, are we going to overcome this? So let's pick out some other cards here and see if overcoming that fear of letting go is something that you're going to be doing. Listen, not everybody overcomes their fear, and it's okay not to, but you know what? At least, even if you wouldn't overcome it, at least you would have the acknowledgement that it's there. I've got an idea of where this is going here, okay? And what I'm seeing here is that, yes, you will be changing the way you are thinking and going into a positive response, changing to a queen. And then we're coming in here with this other queen, which obviously she is pregnant. She is serving the fish and the cat. This is a big change. I feel like this overcoming that fear and you becoming that new person. I'm not just saying that you're going to be like pregnant or you're going to have a child, but what I'm saying is you're going to be changing your views in life, and then whether holding that cup towards a victorious you're going to be holding that and actually giving water, whatever it is in there, back to the fish and so forth, that food or whatever it is. So you're welcoming that change from just you and the way you see things to holding it to other people, to other, and you can see that with the sun, and rejoicing it with others, then versus just yourself and holding that cup saying like, yeah, I'm the greatest. Now you're going to be saying, no, actually, I'm going to be distributing my energy, my love, my affection towards others in new ventures. Like we see here with the Ace of Pentacles, holding it up high, proud of what you've, with the challenges, your fears that you're overcoming, and you're going to be holding it up straight with additional help with. You're going to take that help. You're going to assist, and it's going to be changing the way you see things through unity, through changing the aspects, through looking at that coinage differently, looking at a new venture and releasing all those fears that you had of me and me alone can do everything. Now you're going to have other people helping you, a different way of living life. And so we're going to do a happy ending here, but I'm going to see what this happy ending is going to entail in the long run, because I don't like happy endings just like that. Okay, so again, this is where I'm saying like you're going to overcome that Nine of Swords obstacle here. The, feeling bad and looking down at it with help. You see that? All this help. Well, let's see. And happy endings. Yeah, so again, releasing all of that. Yeah, I mean, like, I love happy endings too, don't get me wrong. And what I'm trying to do here is just acknowledge that whatever you were feeling in the past that made you actually feel that you had no other choice but just to be on your own and feeling victorious on your own is something that you now are dealing with, or you're going to be dealing with the Nine of Swords and the Three of Swords, that are going to release that emotional stress, hurt, and you're going to be going into that new venture of the sun and others and helping yourself. Wow. Okay, so I have no other words for this. I feel like this is such a, you're transforming into a different person by overcoming these fears, by overcoming these obstacles in your life. You're going to be changing this almost like a tough front that you portray, and you're going to be releasing it through emotions. I'm actually even thinking that by doing that, you're going to, and those challenges of like how the horse is looking at one way and the chariot is kind of guiding you towards this direction, is saying, enough with a little pity party here, enough of thinking of that you're on your own, and take that leap of other people supporting you. Then nobody could hurt you. You put that armor on, nobody could hurt you, nobody made you think otherwise. Happy ending overall. Emotions coming through for you. I'm very excited that this is going into a bright new direction, and you're leaving all that turmoil behind and feeling that you need an armor in order to move on and stuck in your ways. So thank you so much again for joining me. Also, I just wanted to let you know about my description below. It does help me tremendously if you like, subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Hasta luego.